Hey, so welcome to Inspired Ideas, which is a podcast slash YouTube channel. And I'm Diane Cunningham Ellis. I'm here with my friend and guest expert, Sonia Leonard, who is an award-winning Remax realtor of 21 years.
Mhm.
And hold on. In 2023, this woman on the screen sold $20 million in volume of houses, her and her team. And if I say anything wrong, you just correct me, my friend.
Of course, of course.
The average real estate agent sells 3 to 5 million to give you a perspective on that. So 20 million. She's been in business for 21 years. Her most expensive house she's ever sold was a $6 million house. Yay. And also in 2023, she sold 35 houses. So she's no one you want to mess around with. She and I met at church and we're good friends and we meet once a month we try to once a month or every 5 to 6 weeks based on our travel for coffee and chatting and talking about coaching and books and relationships and kids and diet programs and everything under the sun. And we have the best time. So I had her as a guest expert before, and we're going to talk about time mastery today. Let me see my official title, Time Mastery for High Achievers, How to Get More Done in Less Time. And there's some specific things that Sonia is going to talk about. It's going to be really just more interview style here because we're just going to have some fun. There is a gadget that you're going to hear about right here. And it's on the screen, but what I'm holding is a little cube for those of you that are maybe listening, not seeing this. It is on Amazon. It's making lots of cool beeps and blips. But you're going to hear about this. It has different time stamps on there, 5, 10, 30, 60, and 5. And you can turn the noise off, just so you know. But you'll hear about this as one of the ways to condense time. So, Sonia, before I start asking you questions, tell them a little bit about you as a person and what we have the chats about in your perspective at coffee.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you, Diane, for asking me to do this. This is always such a treat to join you and your people. And I just hope that something I say is helpful to somebody who ultimately hears this, because you're a super rock star in your space. And so I'm honored to be on here. Anybody listening who needs to know Diane better or at all, reach out. She's incredible at what she does and surrounds herself with high achieving people and opportunities all the time. So reach out to Diane. And so me, well, you mentioned I've been a licensed realtor for 21 years, and I'm married. I have 3 children. They're all young adults. I've flown the nest, flown the country. One of my daughters lives in Australia. The other two are in the United States, but no one's in Texas near to me. So I love to travel to see them. That's my passion right now. And so my big why I do what I do is to create the funds to travel, see my family. But bigger than that, I guess, a personal growth junkie. And as you know, if you do know Diane, you will know that's one of the things that she brings to the table. And so that's been a blessing to know her. And we are very like-minded in that respect, and we get along great. But even every time we're together and we're talking, there's win-win on each side. Each of us brings stuff to the table. The other person's like wowed by, and we take it away and we grow. So each time that we're together, it's a fully packed hour of growth for both of us. Lots of laughs and development. So this is just a cool opportunity. I mean, maybe something I say will help one of you, and I hope for that.
Of course it will. Of course it will. I'm sure I'm going to be I'm getting more paper because He knows this. I always come into our whatever coffee shop with like a giant pile of notebooks and journals and crap because I like to take notes. And she's a woman that you're going to want to take notes when you're around. So, you okay if I just bip and bop all over the place?
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell them first of all about your accent. Where are you from with your accent and help them understand your background.
I don't know. I don't have an accent, people. No, so I was born and raised in England, and as a young mother of our first child, I was taking a break from work, and my husband was still in the workforce. He had a job opportunity back in Texas, where he was from. So we moved over here with our 15-month-old daughter, Emily, and really enjoyed the life that we could lead here. So we stayed, and here we are, 30 years later, two more kids. And it wasn't until my children were starting school, in fact, when my youngest was in kindergarten, that I decided to go back to work and chose real estate as a career for my second career. So England's where I'm from. But as I mentioned, Emily now lives in Australia along with my mom, my sister, and her family. So I have a nucleus of family members in Sydney, and that's where I travel to a couple of times a year um, right now to see all of them.
Okay, good. That's so good. So 21 years of selling houses. I know you rose up through the ranks. You did your time. We talked a little bit about this yesterday that, you built a business while your husband was still working and rose that up. And then now he is retired. So talk a little bit about just the journey of rising up and kind of the commitment that you had to make to get to where you are now.
Right, that's a great question, and I think what the conversation we had yesterday started around, um, entrepreneurs sometimes have, well, we were talking about getting things done, having a to-do list, and doing what you need to do for your business in the day, and it really comes down to what pressures you have on you and why you're doing it. So when I started my career, it was a part-time job. I didn't need the money to live. So I had no real pressure on me to perform. But as it grew, it just became apparent that it could be an income producing career. But I didn't have, when I turned it from an hourly paid job as an assistant to being a licensed realtor where I was really making my own money in my own business, that was a pivotal moment because now I had expenses for my business and I had to figure out, do I have enough money coming in to pay those expenses? Unfortunately, because I was able to take the growth slowly, I was able to kind of balance that.
Mm.
But many new entrepreneurs going into a business where they want to make money have to spend a lot of money before the money starts coming in. And that's true for many people entering the real estate space. And a lot of our agents fail because they don't have enough of a buffer for investing in the business when they start. And that's the hard place to come from, and particularly if you're needing money to pay your bills when you're trying to build the business. So having a realistic expectation of how the cash flow works is pivotal in being able to establish a career through the entrepreneurial route. Um, so I think that was how we got to that point yesterday.
Yeah, because we talked a lot about the cost of doing business and there's the time cost, and we're gonna dive totally into the trench on that here in just a minute. There's a time cost, but then there's the financial cost of starting a business. And some of us don't really, I think we are very naive. Sometimes when you come into, for me, I was very naive about the cost. And I know that it costs way more than I thought. And sometimes our leverage is that we have money, and sometimes our leverage is we have time.
Mm.
And that we can network, we have more time to go guerrilla marketing, right? organic marketing run around. And Sonia, just so everybody knows, Sonia is like the maestro networker, like networker all over South Lake and Grapevine, like all the different areas here. And she runs a networking group. I don't know if she's running it now, but she's like the president every other year of this thing. And it's been going for a long time. It's every Tuesday at lunch. Business Success Group, BSG. I've been a member in the past, but I also know she's very committed to Chamber of Commerce meetings and being a member there. She hosts something interesting is next week is her yearly, I don't know how many years, you'll have to tell me, yearly pie party. This thing is like to die for. You roll up, and she did it even during COVID, friends. So next week, we don't have to wear a mask anymore. But during COVID, we had to like do a drive-through pie pickup. Like, I mean, we were driving through the parking lot, picking up these Costco pies. And, I think 60 people, she said, are coming maybe next week. And these are her friends, her neighbors, her clients, her colleagues, her this, her that, and the other. And we get to get a free pie. We get to choose. Do we want apple or pumpkin? These are nice pies, Costco pies. And or if we don't like pie and don't eat sugar and I think we're, need to be skinnier or whatever, we can pick a candle. But even better than that, I mean, it's just she has a beautiful, she's had a magician. She's had it. I mean, it's right here. I gotta show this off for those watching. She had a charcuterie dude. No,
Caricature.
She has a charcuterie board and a caricature. Those are hot.
That's a lot of C's.
I know. So I got this. Look, I look just the same.
It's so cute.
Last year. So she turns this thing into this yearly, it's a big deal. And, I don't miss it. We don't miss it. So that's just one of the ways that you build. What I guess I'm trying to get at is you really model that it's all about relationships and continual like connecting. So tell us how have you always done the relationship building, or did that weave in slowly over the years that you really began to embrace that kind of philosophy?
So it was neither. The answer is neither. But how it happened was the very first year I sold real estate, I was working with a team and I wasn't given much training at all. And no one really talked about how to get leads and what to do with them once the deal closed. So I did, I mean, it was just like good luck that anything even happened. But after that, end of that year, I was introduced to the program that I follow right now, which is I'm subscribed to a coaching company. So I'm coached in my business and have been for 18 years. And part of the coaching is the marketing and the philosophy of how to create and keep clients by working a referral only business. And this business works for anybody, not just real estate. So whatever industry you're in. But if you're selling a product or a service to people, then it's the people that matter. And you need to get to know more people, build relationship with these people, let them know that they can trust you and count on you to do a good job or provide a good product, and then keep in touch with them and remind them periodically that if they know someone else who would like to be served the way they were served through their transaction or interaction with me, then please let us know and we'll follow up. So that's really the simple thing about it. That is by working by referral. But a couple of catches to that. First of all, you have to do what you say you're going to do. You have to give the client a wow experience, because if you don't, they're not going to refer you, and they shouldn't. So you have to be able to step up. But then also, no matter how much you wow them after the experience, if you drop them and never connect with them again, they're going to forget who you are. And even if they did have a great experience, they won't remember who you are, so they can refer you on. So if you're ready to do a great experience and keep in touch with that person afterwards, there is a chance you can continue to do business by referral, which in my world is the cheapest way of doing it. And in most people's world, it is also not having to pay money for new leads or spend too much time looking for new people. Only you just keep in touch with the people that you already know. But that's a little bit of a limiting philosophy because you really do need new people. So that's why I network. But the way it becomes work is having to continue and to consistently keep up with your clients and go out there and find new people. And so the pie party is a way I keep in touch with my past clients. I do a lot of phone calls and business networking and writing notes to people and just checking in and popping by their home to say hello. All of those connections is what continues to keep the relationship alive so they don't forget who I am. And that's where the kind of the work happens. It's not like hard work that I'm exhausted at the end of the day because I had to dig a ditch or something, but it is hard work because you have to just keep doing it. And one of the things we talked about the other day was sometimes you just don't want to do it. And it's not fun sometimes if you don't want to pick up the phone and call 10 people, but you have to do it. So, what I find that I can do better than a lot of people is to just do it, to keep up consistently working. And I have goals each week for how many calls I need to make, how many touches I need to make with my client base. And I know based on my statistics and projected business plan, if I do those activities, then the results, the transactions, and therefore the money will come. And I also know that if I don't do those activities, it's most likely that the money won't come. So the two are absolutely tied together, even though it's hard to see. Now, if I was digging a ditch, I would be able to see at the end of the day that my job had been done because there was a ditch. I could see it. But when in this kind of more white collar world, there isn't an exact correlation between the work and the result because I can make my 10 calls, go home today and have made no money. I haven't secured a new deal. I haven't closed a house. And tomorrow I'm going to have to come and do 10 more calls. And I'm going to have to keep doing that every day. By the end of the week, I may not see the results of that effort, but I know it's going to happen. And over a longer period of time, a month or 6 months or whatever, then I can start to see the correlation. But it's hard to keep going at something when you don't see the immediate results. And you have to have the faith to know that what you're doing is the right thing and you're doing it right. And then you keep doing it long enough, you'll see the return. But that's one of the challenges that we were talking about as well is to, first of all, identify what you need to do, but also to keep at it when you don't really feel like it.
Oh my gosh, there's so many nuggets in there, and I'm gonna kind of grab things and kind of pinpoint for the sake of going deeper because that was really juicy. First of all, I never realized that this is really basic, but net work. Who knew? Okay,
Mhm.
so how many calls do you do? I know you have a quota for yourself and part of the company, and these are phone calls. Is it 10 a day? Tell us what that means and do you do them all Monday or do you wait till Friday? And what's the difference?
Right. So right now, I believe I'm at 6 a day, 5 days a week is what I strive for. In any given year, it will change because if I want to make more money, then I'll be making more calls. Sometimes, um, right. So when I do them, it's entirely up to me that I don't have a boss coming to tell me that I can't go home. I've not made my 6 calls, and that's hard because sometimes I go home and I haven't made my 6 calls. And as long as I get them done by Friday, then I can say I won the week.
Mm.
The best strategy for me is to start off the week a little heavy, maybe do 10 or 15 or something like that. And then as the week either gets away from me, I have less of those to do. And maybe I can take off Friday or half of Friday if I'm accomplish my goal. Or sometimes Friday is just like sitting there and grinding it out because I haven't done a very good job all week. But I know that if I don't do those calls in the week, the bad news is nothing terrible is going to happen that week. But over the course of the year, like I said earlier, if I do 75% of my calls, I'm likely to bring in 75% of the original annual production goal. And if that's okay, that's okay. But, why did you set a goal higher if you really didn't need that money? So usually it means I need to do it.
And so sometimes it's just, I mean, do you use your timer gadget for phone calls or other projects?
Yes. So, well, that timer gadget was something that's actually kind of new to me. A friend of mine mentioned it. Um, I'm in a network of agents that work the program I do, and so we all commiserate with each other over how horrible it is to sit and make calls. And so we're always looking for a strategy, try and make it more fun. And to be honest, it doesn't take that long, but you can or I can build it up in my mind as being a big block. Like, oh, I just don't want to do this. I can sit here and moan about it for 20 minutes. I could have probably made 10 calls if I'd actually just sat and done it. But just the thought of doing it sometimes can be a little onerous. So, what somebody had suggested was that it's called a Pomodoro timer. And it's just a fun little gadget. The one that Diane has is the same one I have. It's a cute little cube and it sits on your desk and you set it going for however long you want to work, like 30 minutes. And it counts down. And if you're interrupted, which is the big challenge, I can find I know my email pings and I just feel like I have to see what it was, or someone comes to the door and asks me a question. I would tend to get distracted and then never get back to my calls. But this little timer, you just kind of twist twist it up, like it's sitting on the desk. You just kind of turn it over and it stops. And then you turn it back when you're ready to go back to your task, and it keeps on counting. So I don't know. It really works for me because it's so cute. Anything that works to help you get your calls done is what you should do to help focus. But everyone's kind of different on what appeals to them. I find that little timer is cute and helps me focus, but it also helps me pick up the task again after I've gotten off track.
Mhm.
So I use it for timing the amount of time I spend on my note writing, on my calls.
Mhm.
In my world, the way it's broken up, we're supposed to do 2 hours of lead generation a day.
Mm.
And so that helps me to break that up into little time blocks. And time blocking is a whole magic thing in itself, but you have to do it. Just putting it on the calendar doesn't actually make it happen. You have to get in there, start the work, and continue until the block is finished. And this is what kind of helps me with that.
Mm. Yeah, that's so good right there. And the women that are going to be watching this need to hear this because you're in a totally, I mean, your field is very different than mine. That lead gen is lead gen, referrals is referrals, time blocking is time blocking. And all the people that I know or that are going to listen to this are going to like be passing out on the floor thinking about making that many phone calls. But 2 hours of lead gen could include the phone calls, the emails that you're going to send, the posts for your social media,
Oh,
the
yeah.
notes. I mean, so if you had that built in, then the rest of the day you might be showing a house, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I know, and I forgot to bring it in here, but there's something you do. It's called a pop by, POPBY.
BY. Yeah.
And this thing is so magical. And I think I'm going to be able to do my own version.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe explain what this means to our listeners and
Okay.
how it actually is another way that you build those relationships.
Right. So foundationally, all I'm trying to do is to spend a little bit of time with a prospective client or a past client. And the reason I'm doing that is how we started off this conversation, which was they've got to remember who I am in order to refer me. So I have to get in touch with them. So there's different ways. I can write them a personal note, which I do a lot of, send them a gratitude card or an anniversary card or something like that. So there's those things that go in the mail. I can pick up the phone and I can make a phone call to them. I can send them a text message. or I can go by their house. Now, if they've been a past client and they just bought a home with me, then there's lots of reasons to stop by and see how they're doing and how the house is. Even after that, I can stop by, but it's just a reason to go to their house to bring a small gift. And so the gift is not expensive because we're not cognizant of cost, but it's usually something fun, practical, that I can just show up at the door and say, I have this little Popeye. I was in the area. I thought I'd come and say hi. How's everything? And it's just an opportunity to be face to face with them because it's in those face to face or voice to voice interactions when they can start and ask. After I've asked how they're doing, how's the family, how's the house, they might ask me how I am, and then how's real estate, how's the business, and then we start talking about, anybody that has a real estate need or question. And so it's a way to engage and it becomes part of my lead generation. So I might do 5 or 6 calls a day and a couple of two, 3 pop buys in the week or whatever. Like, it's just another level, and it's a little more, it's different and fun getting out of the office just to go and visit people. Sometimes they're not home. I'll leave it at the door and text a picture of it. I was here and you weren't. Sorry, I missed you. And they'll reply. So it's engagement with the client. We have what's called a tagline that we attach to it, a business card, and a little tagline that's something fun to say. It's just a conversation opener. Some of my colleagues don't like to do Popeyes, but it's actually kind of fun for me to get out in the car and drive around town and see people. And most people love it. And that, it's nothing harmful. It takes about 2 minutes at the door. It's not really interrupting them. So it's just another layering of the opportunity to get in front of my people.
Hmm. So do you happen to have one in the room where you are right now? Because
No, I'm sorry. I didn't think
well,
about that.
I'm gonna describe some of these and then you obviously do. So just for the sake of our listeners, so I get one almost every month. I'm like special whenever I see her. And I mean, these things could be probably mostly from the dollar store.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I've gotten measuring cups. I've gotten like a ice cream scooper in the summer. I've gotten like a pie cutter at like holiday time. And you go to the dollar store and you get 10 or 5 or 20 or however many people if you decide to do something like this. And I love it. In the summer, you can have just a package of seeds. Yesterday, I got some dice, and and you wrap these things really cute. So it's like a cute bag with a cute tag that has your business card or your tagline, or give me some examples that are coming to mind, Sonia, that you've done.
Well, the ice cream scoop, I often do an ice cream social in the summer. So sometimes I'll pop by with the ice cream scoop and the little tag that says, call me for the scoop on the real estate market. So something fun like that. The dice that I gave you yesterday is actually a game to play at Thanksgiving. You roll the dice, and then based on this little card that comes with it, whatever you roll, there's a little question. Tell me about a person you're thankful for, or
Mhm.
something, along the lines that we celebrate the Thanksgiving feelings. I've done, yeah, I've done 1,000 of them, and I can't think of a single example. Well, the measuring scoops, make sure your realtor measures up, or something like that. It's really, um, it's supposed to be something that's useful and inexpensive. So I just usually go to the Dollar Tree and look around and see something that I think would be easy to handle, not perishable or breakable, something that has a little longevity as it rolls around in the trunk of my car.
That-
Um,
And you have a goal every month. You currently do 20 of these items.
yeah, right. And that goes into how many touches I need. So if I need to make 6 calls a day, or the number is how many touches do I need to make in a month to my database to generate the referrals that would ultimately close the amount of business that I want. So once I know how many touches, I break it down into pop-bys and calls. But some of the face-to-face interactions are like at the client party. So my November activity is pretty much taken care of. on that event next Tuesday because I get to see, 50, 60 people, and that'll be, a big check mark there for November. Other months I don't have a big event like that, so I have to get out and about myself a little bit more proactively.
Okay, awesome. I am totally on board with this idea, and because I host, as you know, a local networking event. Susan also goes to them and is a part of like a lot of them. She is networking just as much as you and I. And she also just for Susan owns a business that's about food and community, a membership. So there's a lot here that's actually probably really powerful for her to be listening and learning. And so we've got the pot buys. I'm just trying. We talked about the timer. We've talked about the phone. I want to talk now about, you said you've been in coaching with Buffini. Buffini is
Right.
coaching program, and I know your current coach is named James. And you probably had, so Sonia is a coach inside of the system. She has her own coaching clients, and then she has a coach. So tell them the story about what you and James, the James story that you.
Okay, so James is adorable. He's been my coach for a little over a year, and he's an ex-Marine. But he doesn't look like a drill sergeant kind of guy. He's kind of soft and fuzzy, but he has definitely the military mindset. And one of the things that have come up in our conversations recently, and it goes back to I don't feel like doing it, whatever it is that you should be doing for your business growth. And he said that in the military, we don't get to pick what we want to do. You don't get to say, I don't want to do that, I don't feel like it. You have to do it anyway, because, it could be a matter of life and death, what it is you're supposed to be doing. And so they take that decision off the table entirely. And it's just not a thing in their world. You just do it. So that I think about that a lot because he's so sweet and gentle, but at the end of the day, you don't have to be a drill sergeant to operate by that philosophy that if this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you do. But one thing that we didn't talk about recently, Diane, but I was thinking about this morning. When it comes to that, to me, it all comes down to how are you accountable and what are you accountable to?
Mm,
So to me, I'm accountable to my numbers. And if I don't achieve my numbers, I know the money won't be there. And the reason that I'm working is because I have a desire for the money. The money is going to do something for me. But so first of all, a couple of things on that. So bigger picture, why are you doing what you do?
mm,
That if you don't have a why, then it's not going to drive your activities because it doesn't really matter whether you do them or not. But once you know why you're doing something, it will help drive the fact that you do them
yeah.
because the vision for the why is sitting out there. I always struggled with this why for years and years, but if you're generating money to pay your bills, that's a clear why. And that's probably the easiest why. You need to survive, you need to pay the mortgage, pay your landlord or whatever. But if you're not in that situation, it can be challenging because your why might be like, well, I don't really know. I have someone else, independent means to pay all those bills, but there's a reason why you're doing what you do, whether it's because you want a vacation or you want to just show somebody that you can do it, even though they don't think you can, but whatever the why is what you need to be thinking of as why you're doing your activities, even though you don't think that picking up the phone is going to end up with the vacation. It is, and
Mm.
you have to see that, whether it's a picture in front of you or just some way that you correlate what you're doing. Every time you make your calls or do your hour or 2 hours of lead gen, you're propelling yourself towards the why, which is the reason you're here in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part of that, which I momentarily forgotten, I was going down two different tracks. One was the visual of the why, and the other was I don't know, it might come to me in a minute. Where was I going? We started off with Jane. Lost my train of thought because I thought about the bigger why thing. Um,
It'll
oh
come.
well, it'll come back. Senior moment. Sorry about that.
I mean, this is just the same as at the coffee shop where we go every which way. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, this is so, I mean, I just love you so much, Sonia, because yeah, I mean, it really does depend, and we have to wind, the loop back. Why? If I'm not really passionate about something, it's really hard to sell it. Very hard,
Hmm.
right? And I have to have the vision, the passion, the fire, and be willing to say it really, really loud,
Hmm.
microphone loud. And I mean, throughout the day, sometimes you're like feeling kind of wimpy and or we're sick or whatever, things happen, life happens to all of us. And that doesn't mean your why has left the building. It just means, okay, my why is still here, but maybe I'm tired, I'm sick or whatever. But tapping into that why changes me so much
Hmm.
into my bigger vision of, and and some of us are not motivated by money. Like we're motivated by maybe like you said, the trip. We're motivated by the being able to change someone else's life, or maybe the giving back. We're motivated by saving time. And a lot of us, the older we get, it is about our future, our legacy. It's about being able to help kids and grandkids. It's being able to have more freedom and flexibility to, go wherever we want to go, work from wherever we want to work as well. Um, So I just wanted to, just give you a coffee date rah rah.
So I have thought what
Okay,
my
you
opening
have a
thought
train of
was.
thought back. Okay, bring it.
I've now got a pen and paper so I can make notes when I think of something. So where I was going with that was James, who's military man, was just do it. And that was good enough for him,
Mm,
his checklist. Telling someone just do it may not work for you. It certainly doesn't work for me. So and the reason is because how you respond to accountability.
mm,
So I study Gretchen Rubin, who's an author and a podcaster who lives in New York. And she has done a lot of studies on accountability
mm,
and habit change under the umbrella of happiness. Happiness is her thing, how to be happier, healthier, and more productive, more creative. But she determined that there's different, each person is in one of four different kind of quadrants, if you like, as far as how they approach accountability. And there's outer and inner accountability. So that is an inner accountability is if you tell yourself you're going to do something, you will do it, which is the just do it kind of people, like they tell themselves they're going to do it, they're going to do it. End of story. Then there's the other people who respond better to outer accountability, which is, well, I'm not sure about this, but Diane's going to check on me at the end of the day and see if I did it, then I'm probably going to do it because I respond to outer accountability. So I personally am not very good at inner accountability, but I'm really good at outer accountability.
mm.
And so I'm what's called an obliger in her framework. There's people that respond to both, which is upholder. There's a person that's only if they say they're going to do it, they're a questioner. It's like, well, why would I do that? If they like the answer, then they'll hold themselves accountable. And then there's people that don't really like accountability at all. They're called a rebel. So you're in one of these two quadrants. Once you know yourself and you know which quadrant you're in, then you can formulate your surroundings to match what you need.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the just do it thing, that's not really going to work for me. But I need outer accountability. So, what does that look like? So, I have a coach. So, my coach talks to me every 2 weeks, and I'm accountable to him. By golly, whatever he said I should do in the meantime, I'm going to get it done. Maybe the day before our next call, but it'll be done because I'm accountable to him.
Mm,
When Diane and I have a date to go have coffee, I'm going to be there, unless world changing events. But I'm not going to be flaky. I'm going to be there because I'm accountable to her. So setting, I know myself. Like if I say I'm going to work out this week 3 days, I may not because, I'm not really accountable to that. But if I join a gym program, like I have my Pilates classes, I will go 100% of the time because they're expecting me to show up. So you can kind of make a game out of it or a plan or whatever so that you work best in the area of your strength and how you set things up so that you can succeed. And that's been instrumental to me understanding myself. Gretchen talks a lot about know yourself better. So once you know yourself and how you're likely to perform or respond, then you can set up the kind of the guidelines so that it works for you. But it all starts with knowing how you work.
I love that. Well, my other friend that I talk to all the time in Ireland, we have made a game for this week, for the rest of the year, and she made me a little Canva screen thing for my phone because it's like I want to get a gold star for the day, you know,
Yeah.
and like we all want to get the gold star. I mean, I want to get the gold star, and what that means for me is like doing a really bold post on Facebook right now. Gold star can change.
Yeah.
But knowing that I'm doing this, I'm committed and I'm gonna tell her when I'm done and I can put a little gold star on my Canva thing or put it on my calendar. But I love that part because that gamification
Mm-hmm.
and whether it's, I mean, it's this, it's our little timer thing. It can be an app on your phone. It can be, hey, I'm gonna get 10,000 steps and I'll text you tonight when I'm done. I'm not yet. Um, you know, eh, so there's lots of, like you said, there's all these different ways we can build it in to fit us so that we're not kind of running ragged, running loose, running rogue. Because I mean, I want to do those things. They help me go towards my why. They help me get to my why. And I like to be able to check, like in the coaching program I'm in right now, we have a public dashboard on an Excel spreadsheet. And you better believe I run over there every single day and like add my little my little numbers in because we have to put what we are doing with very similar, connecting with people, having coaching conversations, and inviting them to, the next steps, kind of lead gen. And we all can see who else is playing, how much money we've made, and they keep teaching us, what you did in September is gonna build
Mm-hmm.
that, everything like you're saying, it's, you might not be making a sale that day, but after year of building those muscles, uh, those those relationships just completely expand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, the only one random word I have now written down that was something we talked about yesterday, but we hadn't gotten to today, was talking about the prioritization.
Mhm.
So I'm a big on that because in our world of real estate, there's always 1,000 things we need to do, and there's never enough time to do all of them, even with the help that I have on my team. But it's the success can be minimal or huge depending on what you actually do with your time. And that's where we started off with the time management and the time blocking. You only have so much time in the day. And I can compare myself to another agent who's not successful at all, and I have a thriving business. We have the same amount of time. So what am I doing different? Well, I'm doing different things with my time. Now, obviously, I'm more skilled probably than the new agent, but that said, so if I'm doing more important things with my time, even though we're working hard, both of us, then I'm on the right trajectory. So prioritizing the things that need to get done, whatever they are in your space, having a list and then ABCing them, not the easy things first, just check them off because they're quick, but make sure you get the things that are dollar productive and an A quality task. It may be a huge task, you only do a bit of it, but that's better than doing 10 things that are just like, off your grocery list type thing. So prioritizing and in our world, working on our lead gen first, getting those 2 hours done, then you've won the day and the rest of the day will take care of itself. But if you do all your other stuff and find out at 6 o'clock at night and you haven't done any lead gen, you're probably going to be too tired. You're not going to get it done. And that's the failing that we see in our industry, people not doing the right things first.
I'm so thank you for bringing that back because I know we talked about that yesterday, and it's really crucially important because we can be busy all day long doing who the hell knows what, shuffling papers and but we have to clean all that off. And have you read the book It's very old, Eat That Frog? Of course you've read it.
Yes, love that. I'll tell
Yeah.
you a story about that book actually that's near and dear to my heart. So I have three kids, and my youngest, who's now 27. When she was in college, I always tell my kids about stuff they should do and read, and they never do any of it. But for some reason, she did listen to me on the Eat That Frog book. And when she was interviewed she was graduating college and she didn't have a job lined up. My other two secured employment during their senior year. And so she was right at the end graduation, no job yet. And she interviewed with a lady, and she told this woman about that book. I have no idea how the conversation came up, but she mentioned it to this woman, and this woman had never heard about the book, but she was really enthralled with it. I offered Michelle the job. It's been, an amazing situation ever since. But it was this book that seemed to be part of what helped this woman to get to know Michelle to the point where she decided to hire her. So yes, I love that book.
For those listening, it's Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog. I swear it's probably a 30-year-old book at this point because I read it a long, long time ago. Is there anything else you want to share, Sonia? I know, and just for the sake, we're going to finish our recording and then I'm going to close that, but stay on in case our guest has anything she wants to share with us or ask you. Anything else, Sonia, before I close this up that you want to share?
No, I think we touched on everything that we had thought about. You and I can sit here and talk all day, which probably isn't helpful to everybody out there. But no, I've had a great time. I appreciate you. Thank you for asking me.
Of course. Well, I adore you, as always, since the minute we met. And I look forward to all of our coffee dates because we make sure every time we're together, and this is important, make sure you reschedule with your person. And this is true for clients as well. It's the same as the phone calls, reschedule with your people, make sure it's on the calendar for whether that's a month from now or 2 months. I mean, we figure it out. And because our relationship is crucial and important to both of us, and neither one of us make any money from each other, but we never know, actually. I shouldn't never say never. Never say never because you never know when I'm going to be able to send somebody to Sonia. She's going to be able to send somebody to me. And that's the power of networking. The power of networking. Well, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to turn off the recording. Thank you for being here for Inspired Ideas, the podcast, and stay on here with me for just a second so we can take it to the after party.